I'm Melanie, and welcome to my Persuasive speech. Today I have with me my daughter, my dad, and my sister. When Thomas Edison was speaking about his invention of the light bulb, he was quoted to have said, "I've not failed, I've simply found 10,000 ways that it won't work." When I think about this quote, I think about how things might have been differently for him and for us if he hadn't been allowed to fail. In our society, we have two types of parents that are resistant to allowing their child to fail. You have the helicopter parent who kind of hovers over their child, waiting to swoop in and save the day or make decisions for them. And then you also have the lawnmower parent who, like its name implies, will mow over anyone and anything in order to obtain success for their children and to help them avoid feelings of discomfort or frustration or failure. As an early childhood educator and as a parent, I've seen the effects of both of these parenting styles, as well as seeing the effects of a parent who is confident and willing to allow their child to fail and help them work through those processes. In doing my research, I found 3 articles that I felt were very informative for showing the benefits of allowing your children to fail. They were Help Kids Learn to Fail, Building Self-Esteem in Children, How Allowing Children to Fail Helps Them Learn to Succeed, and then also Learning from Mistakes, Why We Need to Let Our Children Fail. And from these articles, I found the 3 main benefits of letting your children fail: resiliency, problem solving, and social emotional development. So I want to talk with you initially about building resiliency. I feel like resiliency is the common thread through all of these benefits, and that's the ability to bounce back after suffering a setback. Building resiliency helps your child become a competent, capable, and successful adult. So one way you can do this is you can show empathy towards your child. You can help them by validating their feelings of disappointment and frustration. And one woman on Bright Horizons said, "Resiliency is like your muscles. You never know how strong they truly are until you need to use them." So I would just encourage you to remind your children that they can pick themselves up and try again, or even give them an example of a time that you suffered failure and how you worked to overcome it. So through this trial and error, you become a resilient adult, and with that trial and error come plenty of opportunities for problem-solving skills. When I think of problem-solving skills, I think of guiding children in how to think about their situation and how to think for themselves how to solve the problem that they face. I think of the children that build the block structures and then they fall. One way that you can help someone is you can encourage them to think, how could they make the block structure sturdier? Or ask the hard questions like, I wonder why that fell. And encouraging them in this thought process helps them to think for themselves and learn to problem solve. Lawnmower parents and helicopter parents, they take this power of ownership and the decision-making ability away from their child and place it back on themselves, the parent. So I would encourage you not to hover over your child, not to say, oh, let me help you with this before it falls, or let me show you how to do this better. But sit back and watch your child and see what they do, and then help them think through that process. So along with problem-solving skills also comes another valuable skill that you'll need to enter the world of adulthood, and that is social and emotional development. Keeping children from failing and learning how to tolerate that failure leaves them vulnerable for anxiety, for meltdowns in children as young as preschool, but also even children as old as college-age students. And you'll find this in children that struggle to handle situations where they didn't go the way that they thought they would with their peers or their friends, or struggling to adapt to changes in their routines and their transitions, both at home and at school. And you can even see it in a child or a college-age student that brings home a grade that was maybe not what they expected. So there's many other benefits to allowing your child to fail, but I wanted to share these 3 with you. I felt like they were the most significant. I feel like resiliency and problem solving and social emotional development are kind of the glue that hold all the other benefits together. When you boil it down, that's kind of what you have. So I'd like to leave you with a quote from Jessica Leahy. She's a teacher and a writer at The Atlantic and The New York Times. And she says, Today's overprotective, failure-avoidant parenting style has undermined the competence, independence, and academic potential of an entire generation. So I ask you, will you be willing to allow your child to fail in order to avoid this pitfall? Any questions?
Yes, so you mentioned that you have the lawnmower parents and the helicopter parents. Are there other types of parenting that you could go that avoid that?
I'm sure that there's other kind of catchy names for the different parenting styles, if you will. These are the most prominent that you see, aside from the parent that seems to be a little bit more confident and helps their child through that failure process. These are the most common. Anybody else?
What type of parenting do you think you had?
You know, I thought about that when I was doing this speech, and I think my parents were probably a healthy combination of these plus a parent that was confident in themselves and confident in their children's ability to make mistakes and then learn from them. I remember dealing with mistakes and having natural consequences, and that helped me to become the person that I am today. So I wouldn't necessarily say they're either one of those, but maybe a healthy combination of all of them. They stepped in when they needed, but they let me do my own thing. Anybody else?
So, as an educator, what are you seeing the most of today? Which type of parenting?
Well, when I think of that question, I teach 2-year-olds. So they're still kind of young. Parents don't have too much of an opportunity to mow people down to get what they want for their child. But I definitely see probably more of this helicopter parent because they want their child to be successful. I mean, they're 2. They want them to be successful, but they're just kind of waiting, teetering on the edge, waiting for them to come and help them versus kind of talking their children through that process. Anybody else? Okay, thank you so much.